Past the 11th hour, and I'm your host, Nathaniel Stone, but we all know who the Lord of Hosts is. Say it with me in any dialect you so choose. Yahweh, Sabaoth. Kodesh brothers and sisters, fellow members in the body of Messiah, and those in the world, thank you for giving me your attention in a world full of distractions. So we here are at part 2 of this teaching of 8th Kingdom Ascending. So if you tuned into part 1, you're like, you didn't really talk about the 8th Kingdom. I did not. In fullness. But I did. But I haven't yet, and I am, but I will. That'll make sense when we get into a part here in Revelation chapter 17, verse 8. Okay. Abomination of desolation. It's a really good one. We need to understand about a number of things with abomination of desolation. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good? Yeah, okay. Video, just double check. Okay. So with the abomination of desolation, I think a really key thing to understand is first to understand the word sacrifice. Let me put that on a bigger screen here. I just learned how to do this, and I'm scared that it's going to. No, it's not. I don't want to. We're just going to have to deal with this. You guys can see this on screen. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to press it. I just want everyone to understand abomination of desolation. Why am I talking about sacrifice? Because it takes that which is continual away. I'll show you in the scripture here in a moment. I just want briefly, anyone, by the way, if you want my information, as you know, this is my email, so please email me. I have all of my material in written form. I definitely need to brush up on things and put things together, but it's in very detailed form, and then you can take a look at it. And disagreements, I love them. I really, really love them because it shows me that you're reading material. And my information that I give, I just want to let you know that I do feel it is a compilation of the body in Midrash or in studies that I do online or in person over the past 10 years. I get here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept, and I hear brothers and sisters, they share the jewels that were shared with them by Elohim, and we can also, I feel that I'm able to collect that and put things together, and so I love it if you let me know if something needs to be refined or something that you want to add in. Just go ahead and email me on that. We'll get rid of this here now. So let's get into sacrifice. Sacrifice, Hebrew, zabach. You can see we'll call it zabach here in Hebrew. That's the Hebrew word, yeah. And the Strong's number that is there. Thusia, I'll just do the word thusia, but thuo, it's kind of grammar on words. And it is confirmed that sacrifice, namely from, where is it at? Is in Hebrews chapter 10, which is in connection with Hosea. I believe it's 6:6. It's Hebrews 10, I forget where. It's Hebrews is quoting Hosea. And the word in Greek, thusia, is the word zabach in Hebrew. So we know that those words, since that's like a verbatim quote from Old Testament to New Testament, that's an equivalent word. So whenever you see the word thusia in Greek, in the Greek Testament, know that it is sacrifice. So with that sacrifice, I'm just going to quickly go over some stuff here. We'll come to Hebrews second. Not yet. That's the good stuff. And so I'm going to skip over a lot of this stuff. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? You can see the roadmap on there. I'm just going to read the verses here. Sacrifice, that's slaughter. ISR, they changed some words, which is good, but just let you know that. Zabach, thanksgiving to Elohim. Sacrifice, thanksgiving to Elohim, and pay your vows to the Most High. Whoever zabach, esteems me. And then here in verse 16, talking about animal sacrifices, and then the next verse, the zabach of Elohim are a broken spirit, a heart broken and crushed. O Elohim, these you do not despise. Do your good pleasure. That's also sacrifice. I'll show you in a minute. That's sacrifice. Then you would delight in zabach of righteousness, sacrifice righteousness, in ascending offering and complete ascending offering. Voluntarily I zabach to you, I praise your name, O Yahuwah, for it is good. I praise the name of Elohim with a song, and I make him great with thanksgiving. And this pleases Yahuwah more than an ox, a bull with horns and hooves. So here we have thanksgiving is part of sacrifice. Our thanksgiving. I'm not saying the holiday that sings thanksgiving. And prayer be made to him continually. Let him be blessed all day. Bring an offering and come into his courts with what? Enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Let them zabachim of thanksgiving. So there it is, verbatim right there. I slaughter to you a zabach of thanksgiving and call upon the name of Yahuwah. Please accept the voluntary offerings of my mouth in teaching your right rulings. Here's the sacrifice. Let my prayer be prepared before you as incense. The lifting up of my hands as the evening offering. Okay, so make according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. So he makes this pattern here in our world we're at according to the pattern shown him on the mountain. So what are all these things meaning? Well, here they are. The zabach of the wrong is an abomination. The sacrifice of a wrong is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with wickedness? Yeah, that's that one. And then there's a bunch in the New Testament as well. I like Romans, do I have it? I don't have it. Romans 12:1, living sacrifice. And there are a number of locations. We have to understand what sacrifice is before we can get in there. So let's get into Hebrews chapter 13, verse 14. Just so you know, we have no lasting city here, but we seek the one coming. And if you want to know what city that is, look in the next the previous chapter, and it says right here, draw near to Mount Zion, to the city of the living Elohim, to heavenly Jerusalem. In verse 23, the entire gathering and assembly of the firstborn having been enrolled in heaven. The previous chapter from there, in Hebrews chapter 11, says that Abraham was looking, whose builder and maker is Elohim. And then it says here that those that can... that they confess that they were strangers and aliens on the earth, and those who speak this way make it clear that they seek a fatherland, and now they long for a better place that is in the heavenly. Therefore Elohim is not ashamed to be their Elohim, for he has prepared a city for them. And that city, as we covered, is here, New Jerusalem, which it says having been enrolled in heaven. So 11, 12, now 13, in verse 14 says, we have no lasting city here, but we seek the one coming. You know, contextually, we know what that is now. Through him, then, let us thusia, sacrifice, up a thusia of praise to Elohim, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. And do not forget to do good and to share, for with such thusia, sacrifice, Elohim is well pleased. So doing good and sharing, loving your neighbor as yourself, is a sacrifice. I don't like you, but I love you. No, I'm joking. Silly. That's what I get for being silly. So here we have in Hebrews 13:15, we have the word continual. I'm going to do this in order. Yeah, I'm going to do this in order. Yeah, we'll do it in order. We have the word continual. We'll put it in blue. We have the word for sacrifice. We'll put it in purple. And then we have the word praise. We'll put it in yellow. And then we have the word thanks. We'll put it in orange. And then we have his name. We'll put it in... I'm not sure, red. We'll highlight it, yeah, red. I would have put it in blue, but that's the way it is. So we have continual sacrifice, praise, thanks, his name. Continual sacrifice, praise, thanks, his name. When David bought the Temple Mount, set the tabernacle up on the Temple Mount after the plague had stopped, and the priests are doing sacrifices up there. You read it in context. Verse 30 and 31, And to stand every morning to thank and praise Yahuwah, and so at evening, and for all the ascending offerings to Yahuwah on the Sabbaths and on the new moons, and on the Moedim, appointed times, by number according to the right ruling upon them, continually before Yahuwah. So we have continual, we'll put that in blue. We have ascending offerings as form of sacrifice, we'll put that in purple. And then we have thanks, which we'll put in yellow. And we have, actually the other way around, right? But praise should have been in yellow. And we'll just put this in orange, so it's going to be around. And then we have his name in 3 locations, which we will put in red. So we have in that same order, those same, and I do not find that 5 things like this is a mistake that Hebrews is taking, which, by the way, in Hebrews, which it did say, how do I get back there real quick? Here. It did say that the fruit of our lips, that fruit of our lips here is in Hosea 14:2, which talks about the bowls of our lips, which we kind of covered before, is the clean offering that's coming out of our mouth. We're judged for every word that comes out of our mouth. So what we have in that portion, wait, we do this quicker this way. What we have in this portion is in Chronicles 23:30 and 31, we have continually sacrifice, thanks, and praise to Yahuwah. Animal sacrifice, start, stop, and that is the pattern shown up on the mountain. But what hasn't stopped? There have always been believers holding down the gateway, whatever you want to call that. We're here on earth. There's always that remnant. Oh, I've saved 7,000 that haven't bent the knee to Baal. There's always that remnant, that faithful virgin amidst the harlotry of his people that are backsliding. There's always that faithful remnant that is there. So, to restructure our understanding of abomination of desolation, there's 3 locations in Daniel. I'll just pick this one here in verse 31. Strong one shall arise, that's right. Profane the set-apart place, the stronghold, and shall take away that which is continual and set up the abomination of desolation. ISR, abomination that lays waste. We'll get into that. So, takes away that which is continual. Oh, it's a continual sacrifice. So that means the animal sacrifices have to start, and then this son of perdition has to stop them. Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it a red fancy sports car? In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, talks about that son of apolloia in Greek, son of destruction. And what does he do? He opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim or that is worshipped, so that he sits as Elohim in the temple, dwelling place of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Someone's forgetting the first commandment if they're doing that. And the second one, no false Elohim worship. This guy says he's Elohim. And the whole world worships him, right? The whole world, this reason Elohim gives them a working of delusion for them to believe the falsehood, the lie. What's the lie? That Elohim's here on earth. Whatever, well, he's here with us. But that thing, that carnal thing that claims he is, that son of perdition, that is the lie. And so it says that he takes away that which is continual. So if our praise and worship go to Yahuwah Elohim, Yahweh Elohim, Yehovah Elohim, however your name, the Lord our God, excuse me for saying words, but we know who we're talking about. When our Heavenly Father gets our daily praise and worship, which is our sacrifice of our time, of loving neighbors as ourselves, our life is as a drink offering, is a living sacrifice, and the things that we are doing, and we are giving our prayer and worship, and we know that he's in Shamayim, and we're giving it to him in Shamayim, and when we think that this thing which is in the temple is Elohim, and we give our praise and worship, we are no longer sending that which is continual to Shamayim, but to the creation, who says he's Elohim. Abomination of desolation could very well be, and what I really do believe is when the animal sacrifices may as well start, or when he sits in that temple that he just so happens to that he puts there. And in the Aramaic Peshitta, in the abomination of desolation, Matthew 24, verse 15, it says that it accumulates where it ought not. Stands where it ought not. It accumulates where it ought not. Something comes up out of this pit. We're going to get into it in a minute. Something comes up out of this pit. And so if Elohim exists outside of linear time, and we know that the esteem of Elohim was in a location here on earth, and we know the general vicinity of where it is on earth, and the Holy of Holies is there, the Kodesh of Kodesh, Kodesh, Shil Kodesh, I'm not sure in Hebrew what that would be, is there, and that is in a time and place here in the near future. If that thing is put up and this thing is in the set-apart place, is that an abomination? Is that standing in the set-apart place where it ought not be? Is that something unclean, trying to sit where the most holy sits? Is that an abomination that causes desolation and people are worshiping it, thinking that it's Elohim? That sounds pretty terrifying to me. I think that some red fancy sports cars in teachings are concerning because they get us to look for false signs and wonders that get us to go off on wild goose chases and ones that have been manufactured. There was a red fancy sports car, and there was a guy on the top of that hill, and he led him down a wild fancy goose chase so that he is not staying vigilant, and everything gets plasticized, and he ends up getting poisoned and dying because of it, because he did not listen to the warnings of verbatim scripture, not just putting things together. There it is. Ask me for this. I will send you this. I color-coded this ahead of time. I will send you this screenshot if you want, or you can take a photo of it. I want to explain this with the harlot. This is now coming into 8th Kingdom Ascending material, and what I want to share, and we're gonna segue into the harlot first, because we need to understand her first. I color coded it: pink for pink, red for red. What is that? Teal, green, whatever for green. And the color codes are, for the most part, there. Yeah, they're all correct. Yeah, yellow, orange for orange. Okay, we'll read this real quick. The beast that you saw was and is not, and is about to come up out of the pit of the deep and goes to destruction, and those dwelling on the earth whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world shall marvel when they see the beast that was and is not and yet is. Pause. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Was, is not, is about to, was, is not, yet is. That's why I was saying I did talk about it, but I didn't talk about it, but I am talking about it, but I will talk about it, but I have talked about it. You know, at the beginning, it was like, what are you talking about? Right? I'm talking about this. It's time. It's time. And once you understand the teaching of the foundation of the beast, of understanding the dichotomy, and the dichotomy, is that even right? It's not even the right word. It sounds like a right word, but it's not. The succession of the beasts that are there, you can get the puzzle piece put together here. So the beast is a collection. It's a succession. Now the 8th kingdom we'll get into in a moment, but the beast that you saw was, is not, is about to, was, is not, yet is. It is a kingdom that stretches through time. And it's a specific kingdom that is in succession with one another. I'm not talking about Tartaria, and I'm not talking about the Ming dynasty, and I'm not talking about all of these other kingdoms or Atlantis or whatever. We're talking about specific kingdoms that are scripturally referenced that are in succession with one another. In the beast you saw, it was these kingdoms, but now it is this. Remember, John the Baptist, Isle of Patmos, verbatim in Revelation chapter 1. We're not going to go there, but you can find it on your own. It's like verse 6 or 5 or something. It was these kingdoms, but it is now this kingdom, according to where John was writing it and inspired. It is not this kingdom, but it's about to be this other kingdom. So it was this, it is not this, but it is this. This is what I learned when I was 8 years old. Here's the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. There are also 7 kingdoms, sovereigns, bear with me. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, and when he does, he remain a short while, and the beast himself, the beast that was and is not, is himself the 8th and goes to destruction. There's the 8th. There's the 8th. The beast that was, is not, is himself also the 8th. Oh, is of the 7. I forgot a piece there, sorry. Is of the 7. I knew that. But it's of the 7. That's the king that you need to understand, that it is of the 7. So, according to what we already learned, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, 5 have fallen. And we know that the priests in Genesis 47:22 were Freemasons. They did not sell their stuff, and through succession there, so you have Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. 5 have fallen. I'm going to tell you, it's the Roman Catholic Church. The harlot's the Roman Catholic Church. I'm going to tell you, we're going to get into what the harlot is, and it is the Roman Catholic Church, but it is not entirely the Roman Catholic Church. It is part of it. There is more to it. So a lot of the things that we have an understanding of the harlot or stuff like that, there's collected pieces that are there, but we need to see the bigger picture, and we also need the pinpoint location that is there. So here's the mind having, what's the part that, here's the mind having wisdom. I was going to ask, what is the part that stands out to everybody? It's right there in the apple of your eye. It's right there in the very center of your focus. It's the blue. Here's the mind having wisdom. Wisdom is advanced, refined knowledge. So you get knowledge, da'eth, Hebrew, and through knowledge, you want more of it, but it's all gold. Let's pretend it's gold. It's scattered all over, so you got to go get little pieces here and there, and you start putting it together. Like, well, what do I do with it? With the insight, you start to understand the understanding, binah, shakal, understanding, binah. So as knowledge increases, you start to get more understanding through the insight, and through insight of understanding, you know where to find more knowledge, and then with knowledge of the insight, you start to understand what it is that this knowledge has a purpose for. What does gold do? What is its value? Why is it valuable? So understanding is who, what, where, when, why, how something is done. It's like what a priest does. A priest understands who to worship, where to worship, why to worship, how to worship, what to worship, where to worship. Am I forgetting anything? That is there. And that's understanding. It's potential energy. It's potential. You have all this potential, but sometimes you don't apply it. That's wisdom. Wisdom is the application. It's the kinetic of energy. So wisdom is the application of who, what, where, when, why, how. So here's the mind having wisdom is saying, make sure that you apply it. Also, it's very advanced and refined. This is not 101 stuff. This is stuff that, you might be able to get instantly or be able to pick up right away, but this is stuff that is refined and kinetic in motion applied. So the 7 heads are 7 mountains. Oh, I didn't cover that. I will, real quick. Pause. Jeremiah 50 and 51. Keep this in memory if you want to put it in notes or you just listen to this. The Babylon the Great chapters, Revelation, well, there's a little piece in verse 16, and there's one name mentioned in Revelation 14:8, but the primary Babylon the Great chapters in Revelation are in Revelation 17 and 18. Revelation 17 and 18 are parallel to Jeremiah 50 and 51. Read Jeremiah 50 and 51, you will see dozens, plural, connections between those two that are there. Another one that is there that you'll see connections with, slightly less well known, is Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 23. Read Ezekiel 16, read Ezekiel 23 in connection with Revelation 17 and 18. Those 6 are like core foundational principles. There's more than just those, but those are the heavy hitters. In Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 27. I was on 27. It's here somewhere. Oh, 25, sorry. See, I'm against you, O destroying mountain, and then I will make you a burnt mountain. And he's talking to Babylon. He mentions them by name. Let me just try to find real quick so you can see. We could have healed Babel, right? This is Nebuchadnezzar's Babel. More specifically, Belshazzar's Babel, who he got from Nebuchadnezzar. Interesting that there is a golden cup here as well. There's more. We get into it. Made drunk all the earth. Okay, they're parallel chapters. A lot that's there. So in Revelation chapter 17, that we have, back to here, the 7 heads are 7 mountains. Oh, there's 7 hills. Rome is on 7 hills. Mecca is on 7 hills. Cool, bro. Did 5 fall? No? Is 1 is? Where's the one that is just going to pop up out of the ground? Bro, stop it. Seriously, stop it. It's red fancy sports car. Stop it. Get rid of that. Get rid of that teaching. If my professional opinion, a mountain in Scriptures verbatim is a kingdom. Verbatim in Scripture. You go ahead, you can argue with me all day long. I've heard it, and that's okay. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to listen to verbatim Scripture. You don't. But I'm not coming off of that point because we are given verbatim Scripture that a mountain is a kingdom. That's the wisdom. If you don't want to apply the wisdom, if you don't want to have understanding, if you don't want to have knowledge, and you want to run off in red fancy sports car land, be my guest, and that's okay. And come to me with red fancy sports cars. And I'm not going to like mock you like I'm talking now. And I'm gonna be compassionate and loving. But I'm here now, and I'm letting you know with power and authority through Scripture. Why am I so confident about it? Because it's verbatim in Scripture. I see patterns, and I can't come off that pattern. Rome is not 7 hills. It's not talking about that. There is no was, is, about to come. It doesn't make sense. It is Rome. It is connected with Rome, but the math is wrong. Here's the mind having wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 kingdoms. A mountain is a kingdom on which the woman sits. The woman is who? And the woman who you saw is that great city. So the woman that you see in Revelation 17:18, it's line upon line, precept upon precept. If you want to add stuff that's not there, when we have stuff that is there, be my guest. I'm not doing it. The woman who you saw is that great city. So a woman is the great city. Anyone know algebra? Variables, factoring. You have A, and once you figure out A, you can put a number value there, and then it helps you to solve the puzzle of the math. So here is the mind having wisdom. 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the great city sits, on which Babylon the Great sits. The woman is Babylon the Great. It says it right here. Come, I'll show you the judgment of the great whore. Right here it says, upon her name, Babel the Great. We'll just use this term right here. We'll use this term. Mother harlot applies too. We'll use this one next. We're going to go there. We're getting into her now. Running out of time. Babel the Great. The woman is that great city. That the woman sits on top of 7 kingdoms. Babel the Great sits on top of 7 kingdoms. I'm going to show you really quick. And the woman who you saw is that great city. The woman, verse 18, the woman is Babylon the Great. So Babylon the Great is that great city. I'm staying in the same book. What's important is that What's important is that you see, calm down, I'll get it. There we go. Is that great city Babylon, right here. That great city Babylon, verbatim. Great city Babylon. Okay, so we're given the code, the secret code that is there. We also see it in Revelation chapter 14, verse 8. We see it here, that great city, Babel is fallen, that great city. Babylon, that great city. Okay, cool. So we'll go to chapter 11 here. And we see here, and when they to witness another witness, the beast coming up out of the pit of the deep shall fight against them and overcome them and kill them, and their dead bodies lie in the street of the great city. And then here is, anyone shut out? Where was our master crucified, impaled? Where was he killed? Where? Jerusalem. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to take your word for it. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the Scripture word for it. Red lettering here, it says here, today, tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. But I have to journey today, tomorrow, the following day, because it's not fitting for a prophet to perish outside of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets. Okay, not fitting for a prophet. Messiah says he goes to Jerusalem. Okay, so I will take your word for it now, because it says that. So in Revelation chapter 18, it says right here, it says that the great city, now we already covered that the great city is the woman, and the woman is Babylon the Great. So let's put that in there. So in the street of Babylon the Great, Jerusalem. Don't like it? Argue with the scriptures. Give you another one. Revelation 18:24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and the kedoshim, set apart ones, and of all who are slain on the earth. Blood of prophets, kedoshim, all slain on the earth. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets. We just read it in Luke 13:33. It's not fitting for a prophet to die outside of Jerusalem. And where the two witnesses die? They prophesy for 1,260 days, and they die in the street of the great city where our Lord was impaled. Makes sense, because that's what the scripture says. Okay, cool. So here we have in Matthew 23. Because of this, see, I send you prophets and wise men and grammaticus, scribes, good ones. He sends them. Some of them you shall kill and crucify, impale, and some of them you shall persecute from city to city, so that on you come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, who you slew between the temple and the altar. Truly I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. Next verse, see, your house is left to you desolate. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, house is left to you desolate. And in her was found the blood of prophets, check, Jerusalem. And of the kedoshim, Abel, Zechariah, check, Jerusalem. And of all who are slain on the earth, so that on you come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, check, Jerusalem. The one that really got me is the mother of harlots. We know this term. I gotta hurry. The mother of harlots. This is the one that clicked for me, by the way. The Ruach Kodesh came in on me. It entered in power and authority and rewired my brain. I used to think that Babylon the Great was the United States of America. And it rewired my brain, talking to me super fast, crazier than I'm talking to you, and just rewired everything. And then after the event happened, said, okay, go, don't take my word for it, go test it out. And then a year later, I got the chapter I'm about to get into. Son of man, make known to Jerusalem her abominations. Ezekiel 16:2. Jerusalem, abominations. Okay. Verse 35, therefore, O whore, hear the word of Yahuwah. So Jerusalem, the whore, abominations. Verse 44, they use this proverb against you, like mother, like daughter. The mother's a whore, the daughter's a whore. And we're talking about the rebellion of his people. I already said he saves, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. He saves a faithful virgin. But we're talking about the rebellion of his people, not the faith of his people right now. We're talking about Babylon the Great. There's a difference. Like mother, like daughter, and we know that it's talking about your elder sister Samaria and your younger sister Sodom. He connects the rebellion of Jerusalem with Sodom, which was destroyed. So you just have two sisters. And those two sisters in Ezekiel chapter 23, and once you understand the connection, son of man, there were two women, daughters of one mother. They whore, like mother, like daughter. Mother of whores, that's where it is. Mother of whores, right there, verbatim. Mother of whores, mother of harlots. And on her name was a mystery. It's a mystery we don't even read. Mother of harlots, or Babylon the Great, mother of harlots, and the abominations of the earth. Declare to Jerusalem her abominations. And their names were Aholah the elder, Aholah her sister, Aholibah her sister. Names are 10-tribe kingdom, 2-tribe kingdom, Samaria and Jerusalem. 10-tribe kingdom and 2-tribe kingdom came from the rebellion of the 12-tribe kingdom. There's the mother, Solomon, rebellion. Interestingly enough, once you have the pieces here, check this out. Horde in Egypt. There's Egypt in succession in verse 3. Here we have whoring in Assyria in verse, it's also in 5 somewhere, yeah. Assyrians, 5 and in verse 7. And then we have Babylon. We see it talking about after the sons of Assyria. We will have Babel of the Kasdim here, and also in 17. Babel came to her. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon. Interesting that it's in that order, and only those kingdoms are mentioned. Why? Here's the mind having wisdom, the 7 heads or 7 mountains on which the woman sits. I have to hurry up here. I am almost out of time. I want to let you know that what you have to find is you have to find I feel we have the six. We should know the six: Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. One is Rome of antiquity, and the other is not yet coming. When he does, it will remain a short while. And the beast himself, that is and was and is, was and is not, is himself the eighth and is of the seven and goes to destruction. So that eighth kingdom is that collection, but there's a seventh head that is there. So if the woman represents Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is representing the harlotry of his people, not the virgin. Jerusalem even means two, Yerushalayim, right? The Yahudim, plural, Yerushalayim. There is the faithful and the unfaithful. Even the name there is in Babel the Great. Mixture the great mixture, the great confusion, causing the great scattering. Mixing of what? His truth with the ways of the nations. Abomination, really quickly before I forget, I gotta hurry, man, I'm sorry. You see here in verse 5 and 7, you can pick out, let's pick this one here. Solomon went after name of a false god, the word Elohim, kingdom is associated with. And then the next one here, name of a false god, the word abomination, kingdom is associated with. Here you have the name of a false god, the word abomination, and then the kingdom is associated with. Here you have the name of a false god, the word abomination, and the kingdom it's associated with. And then here, the same false Elohim, this one here, the one in verse 5 that we have covered, this one here, and then here's the word a mighty one, in context false god, and then of the Sidonians. Later down in the very same chapter, it says here that they've forsaken me against, here's the name of the false Elohim. And now you have the false Elohim of the Sidon, the mighty one, and then here it's the other way around. I had it backwards. Here's the name of false Elohim. Then here you have Elohim. In the verse above it called that abomination of the same Elohim in the same kingdom, and then here it says Elohim for false god. So the word false god and abomination is a Venn diagram, compare and contrast different words, but they can be interchanged in certain locations. So in her hand a golden cup filled with abominations, in her hand filled with a golden cup filled with false god worship and the filthiness of her whoring with them. That's what that means. That's what abomination is. Abomination of desolation, the false god which causes destruction, desolation. That is there. I want to share that according to my understandings, what you have to find is the relationship of his people, or those that say that they are his people but are not, but lie. And that is actually let me Yahudim is those who praise and thank. Yada, 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 yadawa. Awadaya in Hebrew means to thank, praise, and confess his name and confess sin. Those who say that they are Yahudim by actions, but lie, are any false religion that says they worship the Elohim of Abraham, but lie. In a broad sense. And if you want to know who Babylon the Great is, it's all of the so-called Abrahamic religions that have mixture in them, and they say that they are the worshipers of Elohim, but lie. And there's a lot of pinpoints that we can put on that, but I see it as the three Abrahamic false faiths of Romanized Christianity, of Medo-Persianized Islam, and Babylonianized Judaism. And those are the pieces that are there. And that woman sits on top. And so is the Roman Catholic Church Babylon the Great? Is she the mother? No. The mother is the collective. The mother is what Solomon brought in. So what you have to find in the seventh head is the first six heads we see are his people that are whoring after the ways of the nations, of this false priestly worship that gets brought in. They whored in Egypt, So his people had a special interaction with Egypt. They had a special interaction with Assyria, special interaction with Babylon, a special interaction with Medo-Persia, Esther, Nehemiah, Ezra, special interaction with Maccabees in the Grecian kingdom. And then the whole New Testament is this interaction with the head, this kingdom of Rome of antiquity. And in the end days, there is a kingdom in Revelation chapter 13:8 that says it comes in all the power and authority of the first beast which is before in his presence. And what you have to find is a kingdom in the end days that is the head of a system of beasts, kingdoms. It's the head kingdom that has the authority of ancient Rome. In the similar system of ancient Rome, a horn represents houses of power, Medo-Persia, or the four generals of Alexander the Great, which represent the four houses of power. Two-party political system that has a world power authority and that has a special relationship with his people that are in rebellion. What you have to find in the seventh head in the end days is a kingdom that has world power and authority, not total, but world power and authority as a head of a system that has a special interaction with the Abrahamic false faiths that say they are Yahudim and they lie. There's only one kingdom in this world that fits to that. I believe it's the United States of America. Now, Daniel worked in Babylon. If you want to, and he's a righteous and wise person. Cornelius was an officer in the Italian regiment, and he's not told not to quit. He's not told to quit his job. If you feel called to be in positions of government, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or like Queen Esther with her influence, or Joseph in Egypt, then that's your calling, and who am I to stop you from doing that? I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we're waiting for the King of Kings to come and crush and put a government in power that is a kingdom in power that puts an end to all these, Zadik Malkuth, a righteous kingdom, and we're waiting for that. And while we're here, we're fighting the good fight, but I don't want you to be deceived as to what those seven heads are. And in the final few little bit that I have here, it says here, this is one of the things that was shown to me. I believe this is the U.S. and the beast coming up out of the earth. And it says here in verse 15 that it gives that it gives spirit to the image of the beast. Our idolatry, this image, is, as we covered in the teaching on Shabbat worship, a sacrifice of time, words, good works, false ideations, worshiping the creation. I covered everything in that a brief little mark of the beast teaching. Is that it is this amalgamation. The image, the beast, is an amalgamation. As you see here, this is the leopard, the bear, and the lion in verse 2, because that fourth beast gobbled up those other three kingdoms. That's why you see its aspects here. And I can't more on it. I'm not going to. I want to get to the heart of the real heart of the situation. Is what I see is that Satan is building an army of I'm going to say it. Just give me a moment here. I'm really sure on the seven heads. And what I've shared for everyone here, I am really, really strongly convinced about. Again, I'm not talking against the United States of America. Yahuwah said to Nebuchadnezzar in Jeremiah 25, 7 and 8, Nebuchadnezzar, my servant. He even wrote the 4th chapter of Daniel. So I want you to understand, I do believe the United States of America is put in a position of power and to keep a level of law and order in this world. Just like Rome of antiquity or these other kingdoms. But when Babylon of Belshazzar got so corrupt and fallen away, that's when judgment came upon the kingdom. And it comes upon every kingdom that falls to a level of pride or just such utter disgust that corruption comes upon it. And it's why I'm thankful what Charlie Kirk did. Whatever he may or may not have been connected with, he did turn a tide and bring a level of talking about scriptural, bringing scriptural morality back to this country in the movement that is there. Just don't get too caught up, because the enemy tries to take what was put for good so that he can use controlled opposition and try to sway the minds and get people caught up in the emotions of the situation to try to get us deceived, even the elect if possible. Deception in the end days comes strong. To close things off, I believe that it is the evil within the United States, not the good that we have in people that may have some level of mixture, or that are standing and doing the Father's work to be opposition. But I believe that the evil order, this whatever you want to call them, the they them, the things that are in control, powers and principalities that are in communication with people, that they are in communication, and this kingdom is in the pit. And if you could just give me just a few more minutes, if that's okay, I will. I'm sorry. Just in the pit of the deep is where this kingdom is where this the pit of the deep, and a key is given, and it is opened up, and everyone who doesn't have that mark of protection upon them is given over. And we see here that there's a king over them, the angel of the pit of the deep, Abaddon and Apollyon. I personally believe strongly, but not 100%, because we haven't caught up to time yet. I believe that CERN, the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, which was the largest human machine ever built to the open understanding, that it was built around a temple of Apollyon in the area, which is Gaius Apolloia in the area where it's at, which is a connection to Apollyon. And they have talked about creating a doorway, but they don't have the key. And when they power this thing up, that the spirits of ancient things slip through the cracks. And they talk about this, but they don't have a key. I'm concerned that what this thing is that they're building it's crazy as it sounds. I know it does. But does anyone here believe that Elohim exists? Does anyone here believe that demons exist, that Satan is a devil and that he exists? Does anyone believe that they are thrown in the pit? Does anyone believe the message of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 is that these angels that sinned are thrown in Tartaros, which is the deepest part of the pit? If you look up the word, I don't have time, it's the deepest part of the abyss, and that they're in chains of darkness to be kept for judgment? Does anyone believe here in Jude chapter 1, when it talks here about that these angels didn't keep their own principality, but they're in everlasting shackles? And does anyone believe that this thing that comes out of the pit, the son of Apolloia, that it says right here in the Greek, the son of perdition, Apolloia, that it says, now you know what restrains? Well, they are being restrained. They're being restrained in the pit. Now you know what restrains. They're in restraints. The scriptures say they're in restraints. And it says that this thing gets unlocked in the end days, and it comes up out. And if anyone knows about what demons are, the best theory that I've heard is that it is the fallen spirits of Nephilim. And it says that in Ezekiel chapter, I'm sorry to go into crazy town, but it says that the abomination of desolation is a one-of-a-kind event. It never has happened, never will happen again. Throw out all the stuff that has already happened. It's never happened. But there are shadow types and pictures to it, and we're shown what this thing is that has happened. Finally, I'll close with this. This is a secret. In Isaiah chapter 26, at the very end, it says, let your dead live together with my dead body. And it talks about give birth to the departed spirits. Does it say? It says departed spirits. But that word there is Rephaim. It's connected with Nephilim that is there. The earth gives birth to these departed spirits. The school of thought is, and I'm still learning this, now I'm in theory mode. What I've shared before, I feel very, very solid on. But I believe that through the power of the seventh head, that they are unlocking a kingdom that is not, but is about to come up out of the pit of the deep. It says it comes up out of the pit of the deep. And I truly believe that transhumanism, changing the DNA, all this technology that we have, if you understand the things that they are doing on the genetic level and the technology advancement that we have with AI and Palantir and all the things that are going on, as crazy as it sounds, is I feel that they don't have bodies, but they want bodies. And when transhumanism and when people openly accept this thing in and they connect into this kingdom that gets released, I do believe that is what causes this mark of the beast to come upon the world. Elohim protects you from it, and everyone else is given over to it, and they all marvel after it. It's what I believe the eighth kingdom is. I believe the eighth kingdom, this one-of-a-kind event that happens, that never has happened or never will happen again, I truly believe it's hell on earth. Literal hell on earth. And I believe that they're allowed to rule in power and authority. And it says in Isaiah 26, finally, truly finally, I promise, in Revelation chapter 9, it says that that in those days men shall seek death but shall not find it, and they shall long to die, but death shall flee from them. Happens for 5 months. I believe that it is that they are coming under the power and authority of the Elohim that they've been given over to, because they were given over to a working delusion to believe the lie, and they are all made subject to it. And I believe that they are becoming the dominant within them, not within us, that they are becoming the dominant species, becoming the dominant power and authority. See, this eighth kingdom, they're in prison. And they've figured out ways to communicate with like John Dee and Sir Francis Bacon and other individuals and Aleister Crowley and all these people. They figured out to communicate through the abyss, like telephones, to build a kingdom up here and to give them technology up here to release them from prison. And Elohim is allowing it because it's part of what he is allowing Satan to be able to do. And it's something that we need to be aware of what's coming up. I wanted you to understand about the mark of the beast, the signs that we need to be care about. I believe that the mark of the beast ultimately is people signing over into it. Thank you, way over time, I apologize.
Questions? Let's go.
You got like 7 minutes.
Don't be shy.
Question is the way they describe, or the way Revelation describes the beast, do you see that as AI? Because man put the spirit in there?
Yeah, I do.
AI is now becoming smarter than humans?
I believe that AI in Revelation 13:15, I think very strongly, it's easy to see in the past because it's happened. But I do feel that Revelation 13:15, to give spirit or life to the image of the beast, that it should both speak and cause to be killed as many would not worship the image of the beast. I do believe that AI is in connection with that. But that's the image. That would be like the spirit of Satan, but that beast would be the flesh, that the son of perdition that it comes in. It's like Ultron, and it's a computer program, and then it builds a body for itself. Sorry, Marvel garbage, right?
I was wondering, with your theory about things being in the abyss and could that be the connection in Jude when Satan's arguing with the angel about the bones of Moses? You know what I'm talking about?
Verse 9.
That's amazing that you know that. Could that be? Is that all connected? Is there some element of a physicality being reanimated or re-brought about? Because he might be one of the witnesses. Is that all somehow
Yeah, I didn't have time. I do have a teaching on two witnesses. It is up on my channel, Teleporting Time Travel. I believe that, in short, I'll give you, I'm sorry, spoiler alert, and please check my work on it. I believe that Elijah goes up into Shamayim, and I believe, we know that translation is real. I think he's translated through time, 3,000 years into the future. And when Elijah comes here, we're waiting for Elijah to come back. It's plenty of prophecies on that. When he comes here, I believe that he goes to the body of Moses, and a 3,500-year-old resurrection happens. And I believe the two witnesses are Elijah and Moses. That's why Satan is fighting against the bones of Moses, because I believe that Moses is brought back as one of the two witnesses. Enoch died in Hebrews chapter 11. Read it. It says that in faith all these died. Enoch is mentioned. Cannot be Enoch. And the characteristics are Moses and Elijah when you read it. Spoiler alert, that's what I believe it is. It sets the scene. When the two witnesses arrive here on the planet, or when Elijah comes here on the planet, it's like they enter center stage in it's like a whole new system that it's craziness. I believe that there's going to be even a calendar shift that happens back to the original calendar, 360 days in a year, 30 days in a moon cycle. That's a whole separate thing. And I think that's going to be one of the signs also. One final thing on that, I believe that when that event happens, that we're given about 3.5 years, we need to stop be fruitful and multiply, but woe to those pregnant and nursing in those days. I think that's a warning that we're giving to, hey, I know I gave you this command, be fruitful and multiply, have children, but once these certain signs happen, I recommend that you don't have children. It gives us 3.5 years. A pregnant woman, that would mean that her child will be about 2.5 years old by the time this great tribulation happened, which is past the weaning time. She's not nursing at that point in time. But that's, separate, yeah. Connected, thank you. We have a few minutes. Come talk to me afterwards, please. It's my favorite topic.
I just wanted to comment on what you're talking about Enoch in Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was taken up so that he would not see death, and he was not found because God took him. Did you just say that he did die, and that scripture says that?
Right, that's a great question. Thank you, I love it. It says here, you are right, that he was translated or taken, right, so as not to see death. Yes, it says that. But then it also says here that in faith all these died, and Enoch is not out of that all. And so because it doesn't say in faith all these, but Enoch died, it says in faith all these died. And for that reason, and I would not have, without that verse, I would not say this about what I'm going to say. It does say, sometimes splitting hairs, and I do agree it is splitting hairs. It's not necessarily the strongest argument, but it does say so as not to see death, but it doesn't say that he did not die. He just didn't see it. And the only reason why I interpret it that way is because it says in faith all these died. And it does not exclude Enoch. That's the only reason. And if that verse wouldn't be there, the one that I mentioned, then I would agree completely, but it does say in faith all these died. And also the two witnesses' characteristics are all their characteristics, water to blood and all that, that's all Moses and Elijah characteristics. And also the message of it. Yeah, there's a lot more, yeah.
Last question tonight. In Daniel, where it says daily offerings will cease, is that possible that the daily offerings would be the west wall where people go and write their notes and stick them in the wall?
Because I don't think that anyone or many people here have gone over there in the wall and done that. But then again, would there always be people there? Had they always, every single day, put a note in the wall from the past 2,000 years? I believe that the daily sacrifice, as listed, us being kings and priests, in the shadow of shown upon the mountain, is that our daily sacrifice, the continual sacrifice of our thanks and praise to Yahuwah is our daily sacrifice. That's what I believe it is, and I believe that it could be connected into different forms of worship that are there, but specifically I find, like in the whole Thusia Zabak, that it's all connected with our living sacrifice. It goes to Elohim that's rediverted to a false Elohim.
No other questions? Well, thank you all, thank you. Nathaniel?
Remember, guard your heart, guard your soul, guard
We
the
will see you all Wednesday.
pay the toll.